Mm. This is the vlog for uh, this is the vlog for October 20th, 2018. And the house remains full of paint fumes. In an attempt to alleviate that somewhat, we've opened up a lot of windows, and to help the paint dry faster, we have been operating at a very low level of heat. So the house is basically freezing, which is going to tie into my second thing. I tried to go for a walk this afternoon. Uh, my phone had indicated that the outside temperature was about 58 or 57. Um, my car said it was 57. When I got home, the thermometer in our backyard said that it was 48. So I was actually wearing this shirt. I had not brought a sweatshirt at all, so I became very cold after about half an hour, and I just turned around and went home. So I'm stiff. I'm 37 years old, and I'm at an age now where it is very easy for all of my joints and muscles to become very stiff if I am in the cold for a long period of time. I have arthritis along a ligament or joint in my back. I don't know if my back has joints, but it's the area where muscle tissue meets bone. There's a little bit of scoring on the bone in one place, which has left me with a back that feels worse and worse and more pain the colder it gets and the stiffer it gets. Right now it's not terrible. It's just a very, very slight ache that I don't really notice most of the time until I start moving and doing this sort of ow like that. And it gets better the warmer I get. So bundling up in my bed hopefully will help me feel better. But yeah, what we really need to do is get the heat going in this house, and that will hopefully help in the long run. The other things I want to talk about are Soul Calibur 6 and Anime Night. I was very tired and I had not played Soul Calibur yesterday when I did my vlog, but I've been playing it quite a bit today. It's interesting to see how some things have changed over time in really logical ways that make it seem like, why weren't they doing this before? Specifically, in the old games, a lot of maneuvers were tied to specific button presses, and those maneuvers and button presses changed from character to character. For example, Siegfried has a number of stances where if you use a move but also hold the button to execute the move, he will, he starts off with his sword out like this, but if you do a certain horizontal attack, he'll be standing with his sword behind him, and then if you do a vertical attack, which results in a duck, and hold down the button, he'll lay out the sword in front of him, and other moves will have him hold the sword behind his back, etc., etc. A lot of other characters access their stances or special movements by pressing B and K together, or by doing what is normally called a Hadouken or fireball motion, which is down, down, forward, and forward. But now there's a lot more unified sort of philosophy with these characters. Generally, A plus B attacks result in guard breaks. B plus K is usually a stance switching maneuver that doesn't involve an actual attack. And the quarter circle forward stuff, the fireball motion that I just mentioned, is usually for a special advancing movement that has multiple options coming out of it. It's not universal, but it is a lot more consistent. And this feeds into things like the A grab versus B grab thing, where they are specifically going out of their way to avoid button combinations that are difficult to press on a controller, because they understand that the vast majority of their audience is not buying fight sticks. They're just playing these games on their PlayStation, their Xbox, and using the controller that comes with those systems. Uh, and that's fine. I'm a little disappointed, though. It seems like there's actually a dramatic dip in the amount of customization options available in this game. And it seems like if they're going to add more, it's going to be through paid DLC, which I can sort of understand. It's not anything that helps you play the game better. It is, in fact, probably the best way to get people to spend money on the game. And I intend to spend an awful lot of money. I mean, you've heard me talk about how much I've spent on Warframe. I could probably spend easily a fifth of that money on Soul Calibur 6 and get plenty of enjoyment out of it. I spent a lot of time in the character creator making all kinds of things. The most amazing thing I found today is that somebody made a costume for Voldo, so that when Voldo goes into his backwards mantis crawler stance, it looks like a Magikarp from Pokemon. And he jumps up and down, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. It actually looks like a flapping, splashing Magikarp. I can't imagine. The game's only been out for 2 days. I can't imagine how they managed to figure out how to do that in 2 days. But maybe they did it in the beta and just brought it into live when the game came out. Anime night, though. I didn't watch as much of it tonight as I have before, but we started My Hero Academia, which I've actually watched the first season of. So I can, miss episodes here and there without the end of the world happening. But after we finished the 3 of those, my buddy played his troll pick, which is a show called That One Time When I Was Reincarnated into a Slime. That is the actual translation of the title. And this isn't even the first anime with a ridiculous name like that. I'm also a big fan of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Both of these shows with ridiculously long and absurd names seem to take video game tropes and turn them on their heads. That seems to be the general point of the series. And it had a very charming first episode. Well, it had a very dark first episode, but it has a sort of charming, what do you want to call it, tone, characterization. The main character, who does come back to life as a slime, has to figure out what it means to be a slime. And so far, it's been very entertaining. I kind of want to watch more episodes of it. But the next thing I have to do is watch Gridman, because I meant to watch an episode this morning, and I was too early at the time, and now it's been out for hours, and I haven't watched it yet, so I need to watch that. And then I'm probably going to play some more Soul Calibur before I go to bed. But all in all, not a bad day, stiffness aside. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.